Did you know that makers of Conan Exiles are also making a brand new MMO survival game, and it's based on the book series DUNE? Now this got kind of announced in a weird way, spoken about in a financials which I leaked and showed you guys a good few years ago now, but since then absolute zero info, nothing, no teasers, no artwork. We just know that their plans are to make it a survival game. It's going to be like a Conan Exiles but maybe bigger. Well, today we start to finally see maybe some more concept art, and this could be the closest or first stuff we've actually seen. This might not be indicative of actual gameplay, but there are some pointers now clicking together, and with the summer of maybe exhibitions showcasing new games, is this the summer we finally get an announcement? My name's Jade, I've covered Conan Exiles in the past, but it's been a while since I hit that game because it's just kind of died. But I'd be definitely down to cover DUNE in the future, as it looks like it could be an interesting bet. So let's go over what we know so far. Okay, so I made this video today because they literally put out a job listing and they showed this piece of art. And I don't think I've seen this anywhere else. Tell me I'm wrong, tell me some other tubers found this ages ago or it's always been up on the website. But it's the first time I've seen anything to do with DUNE that hasn't actually just been directly lifted from a movie or the book series itself. Now it seems they've got 3 different studios working on this game. They've expanded the scope. When they announced it back in their financials a few years ago, just when Tencent were about to buy them or finalise buying the company. And since then, that massive cash injection they got, they've been able to expand and maybe increase the scope of it. And that's what I get from behind the scenes, that originally they may have introduced DUNE a little bit quicker, may have gone into early access, and it would have been something very similar to Conan. But with the investment they got, they can expand, they've made it bigger, and they've got more people on board. But that has obviously meant bigger delay as they finalise and get things maybe more polished, or have gone through different results and ideas. So they've got a whole bunch of new jobs opening. Quite worryingly, some of these do seem to be like the starter points for a lot of jobs, like not kind of pre-production, I guess. I'm hoping it's not the case, it's just to maybe turnover, or they're just getting additional people to come and check them out. But clearly, unannounced DUNE survival game. Back in December, Funcom and Nuclear announced that they would be developing DUNE together. It looks like Tencent bought out Nuclear or invested in them, and that's how they got together. And it seems that Nuclear are very much in charge, or maybe kind of experienced with vehicles and vehicle combat. They've worked on stuff like Destroy All Humans and Everspace, according to this article from VentureBeat. And if we take a look at some of the art, I think it's pretty clear that there is going to be spaceships in this new game. So big departure from Conan Exiles, and exactly what you would expect based on the actual premise of DUNE. I'd always imagined it would be like Conan 2.0, another dusty, deserty landscape with lots of creatures that you'd fight, as well as maybe PvP against other players. But the fact that they're thinking, or they've got someone that's worked on like space games and piloting ships, that is pretty good, that's pretty big, that's got me excited and a bit more interested. So it looks like Funcom do own the rights to DUNE. They also released their DUNE Spice Wars recently, and it's doing okay. 82% review score, very positive. It's an RTS game, and this one's made by the guys that made Northgard. I quite like these types of games, but I don't know 100% whether they fit the channel. That's why I'm not really bothered covering it too much. I do know that when they announced this at, I think, the Game Awards or whenever it was, I was pretty disappointed it wasn't the actual MMO. Instead, it was just another side shoot. Funcom have been diversifying what they're doing lately. Obviously, a few of their games have been delayed, like Conan Chop Chop finally came out after absolutely going AWOL for about 2 years, and it was okay. It was probably a bit expensive for what it was and didn't really offer much replayability in the long term because it just simply was too repetitive. And they've still got their Metal Singer game to come out as well. This is made by David Goldfarb. He's the guy that was meant to be making some Viking survival RPG game, but in the end they sold the company out to Funcom and they started working on this instead. Again, not my jam, I can't stand heavy metal music, but yeah, you can see that Funcom are diversifying. And of course their main jam, the one that helped them stave off maybe possible collapse for the studio, was Conan Exiles launching. They just celebrate their 4-year anniversary coming out with early access, and there's some sort of big update on the horizon, but this game has kind of fallen off a cliff a little. They did really poorly during the pandemic. They couldn't keep up with the kind of tempo of updates and stuff, and other games kind of exploded in popularity like Ark and Rust. And Conan really didn't go that big. That's because at the same time they just didn't have enough resources to deal with the pandemic by the sounds of things. They just weren't able to pivot and get stuff out or done properly. DLC that came to PC first, and then 10 months later to Xbox and PlayStation. And the DLC that did come out, it just wasn't that amazing. Sitting at a 51 mixed review score at the moment. From what I remember playing it and stuff, it just felt like it should have been maybe a free add-on, and they should have done what they always do, which is sell DLC packs where you've got costumes and building pieces and stuff. At times I've attributed the slow development of Conan Exiles, or seemingly not being able to keep up with what they've previously done, because maybe lots of their staff were working on the new Dune game. But apparently not. If you check out some of their streams in the past, some of their lead devs have explained they've got as big an amount of staff working on Conan Exiles as they ever have, but they've just clearly been working on getting new stuff done to it. But their last small patch was back in February. They had a small quality of life update back in January, and they introduced one of their first events back in December. Considering this is meant to be like a live service survival game, I would say them returns of updates for the amount of DLC that they sell, I don't think that's particularly great. Hence why I've not been covering Conan Exiles that much, barely a mention in some of my survival shows, because I haven't seen much value in it. I'm hoping 3.0 update might change my mind. If it's got some actual decent chunky content in it, then I will be down to hopefully cover it in the future. But yeah, my mind I think is now definitely set on what the future is for Funcom. Conan's had its time, I think it did okay, and it got boosted by various times it's gone free on either PlayStation or with Games Pass. But if they were to announce in a couple of weeks time at the kind of E3 gaming show, even though E3 is not a thing anymore, this is what I want to see. I want to see Dune. I don't want to see bloody Conan Chop Chop. I don't want to see Metal Singer, Spice Wars or any other crap. I want to see Dune the MMO. So it turns out a lot of their team are going to be going over to LA as part of it. They're going to be doing some sort of announcement, and by the looks of things it will be at the PC Gamer Show. So that's what you can expect. I think for once, hopefully, we're not baiting this up again, that we will get some sort of tease, glimpse, cinematic trailer or something at this show. I think a lot of the focus will be about Metal Hellsinger, as that still has not actually come out or has got a release date. But I'm praying and hoping they don't give us more blue balls and actually show us something about Dune. As a survival game, I think this could be amazing. Instead of the need for food, instead of the usual stuff, you're going to just constantly need that water, that hydration for your suit. And that could be an exceptionally good mechanic for survival. Different ways to upgrade and the ability to have a little bit more sci-fi element into it. Dune isn't a massive kind of shooter game. There's reasons why in the lore that basically guns have been outlawed and no one uses them because it could lead to nuclear weapons going off all the time. There are, yes, some guns that fire lasers and stuff like that. A lot of the characters still have their own protection shields, and the only way that you can kind of get through them is by using solid weapons. So melee combat should be a big focus for Dune going forward, but it's still exciting to see that on their actual developer pages, and because of the partnerships that go in, it's clear we're going to have some sort of vehicular combat or actually be able to pilot and use either ships or maybe even Dune buggies and stuff like that. So there we go. First time I've spoken about Dune in probably like a year. Hopefully we're going to be seeing something soon. Let me know what you think about the state of Conan Exiles if you're a big time fan. Agree, disagree that it's kind of on its last legs? And how hyped would you to play the new survival game if it got announced and could be even seen in early access release next year? Until next time, Ratbags, I'll catch you later.